I guess that's what I get for leaving myself here when I sign back in. Anyway, we're back to continue on with our story. Looks like we are going this way. Sorry, Xander. Anyway, thanks for joining me. We are back.
Ew. Be sure to wash your hands.
No. Where are we going? Oh my goodness.
Another chance at perfection.
The art of Kwama egg cooking? Kwama eggs have always been a Dunmeri delicacy, though I've heard they found their way into imperial kitchens too. Who knows what grisly dishes that lot would make with Kwama eggs. Would they stuff chickens with them, poach them, and put them in a bab? They are disdainful people, and they make disdainful food. To cook a Kwama egg with any measure of success to master the sharp, sour flavor and gummy texture, Kwama eggs are similar to scrib jelly in this way, and many a young chef, even Dunmire chefs whose elders should have better taught them, has attempted to mask the eggs behind other ingredients to camouflage the preserved unpleasantness. This is an abominable practice. A chef should never apologize for a Kwama egg in her dishes by sweetening or embittering them. If the dish is properly prepared, supporting the Kwama egg's natural qualities, a cultured diner will embrace the meal in all its pungent glory. Well, what does that preparation entail? Only a Dunmer can tell you, because only the Dunmer have the lifetimes of experience necessary to call ourselves culinary masters of the Kwama egg. It was we who first tamed the Kwama, after all. Okay. I'm confused. It's saying that only the Dunmer can cook it, but yet they call them disdainful people. Anyway, I in turn have spent a large portion of my years, of which there are many, immersing myself in the art. I have served Kwama eggs to peasants and paupers, grandmasters and grandmistresses, and delighted them all. And you, dear reader, will find within these volumes the combined knowledge of my entire career. It takes a lifetime of cooking Kwama eggs to truly understand the subtle but brilliant differences between the various methods of preparation, and I have catalogued them all here, all the ones of worth, at least. Follow these recipes exactly, just as the maid should hesitate to improvise in her spellcasting lest she find a Daedra in her drawing room. The Kwama egg chef should not stray from the paths that I laid out here, painstakingly crafted from years of trial and error. Believe me, if it works, I found it. And put that moon sugar away. You'll insult the eggs. Noted.
How stimulating. Look
I suppose we could knock?
We have no time for this. I shall open a portal.
No need for that. The Golden Eye foretold your coming. Welcome.
The Abbot! Forgive our intrusion, and listen to what our friend has to say.
36 Lessons, Sermon 29. The presence of a deaf witness. This is what the numbers are. They hang on to the Ubris, the last nostalgia of our godhood. The effigies of numbers are their current applications. This is folly as above, to be affixed to a symbol. The ending words is ALMSIVI. I don't know if that's something I'm going to need or not, but...
Greetings, champion. The Golden Eye, Hermaeus Mora himself, spoke to me in a dream. He told me you were coming here. I am Andor Indoril. It is my honor to serve as abbot and historian of this monastery.
Hermaeus Mora speaks to you?
Only this once, which is why I thought it best to listen. So long as you promise not to harm any monks nor remove any tomes without permission, you may explore the monastery freely. What exactly do you seek here?
We're looking into relics of Azura, Bethia, and Mephala, a blade, a lamp, and a skein.
I know of a few blades sacred to Boethia, but I am unfamiliar with lamps or skeins. They are not among the relics commonly associated with our ancestral spirits. However, there are more secrets preserved here than any one scholar could ever uncover.
What do you recommend?
The Holomean Library, of course. We have many volumes found nowhere else. Follow me, champion. We keep the main entrance sealed, since the more stringent ordinators consider our brethren to be heretics. I assure you, they are not.
Okay, lead the way.
Ah, I just sent your friends to the library. It's down the stairs to your right.
Thank you. Stairs to my right. But I want to go left.
Look, the Ekaner has something to show us. Fate has led us true again.
I'll look in a minute. From Exile to Exodus, Part 1. At the pass, the Velothi came upon the followers of Trinimac, who outnumbered them 3-1. Though Trinimac said nothing, the loudest of his followers called the descendants rebels, traitors, and filth, to be scraped from the feet of the faithful. And Bethia proclaimed, "Hearken unto me, Ornum, for yes, I know you as Ornum, even if your chief does not." And this caused the followers of Trinime to quiet, for the Awesomer in that time had been so convinced they were elves that had forgotten their days of stone and wood, sea and fire. "The demon seeks to ensnare you," Bethia continued. "With curses he has shrouded your senses, making it so that you look upon him, you see only me. But I stand before you now, I who brought the oracle, and I who showed you the way to hold your blades. I who taught you the benefits of war, whether lost or won. I who showed you the angels one must cut to reach beyond." Bethia then formed a sign with her hands in the shape of a triangle that could only be true, and she strode forward in a manner that revealed the way to walk to achieve an exodus. And all in attendance felt the curse lifted from their eyes. Where once they saw Trinimac, greatest of all warriors, they instead saw Malak, king of curses. And where they had seen Bethia, daughter of blades, they saw now Trinimac, as she had always been, the warrior of east and west, and of the starry heart. She who bore the burden of rending divinity from the one she loved. Frothing with rage, Malak shouted a curse yet unknown and came into Bethia's throat, entering her very being, and her followers despaired, for Bethia fell to her knees, retching blood and ichor, and Trinimac collapsed, seeming to all who beheld this to be dead. Oh my gosh, alright, here we go. "The third truth of mainspring ever wound is the truth of the Daedra. In the days before the first ignition, the Shimmer people bent their knees to the false princes. The web spinner, the prince of plots, and the queen of dawn and dusk. I do not use their names, as names cleaves from one from another. You know them well, child of the Tributo, for every time you bear false witness or make foolish boasts, you do so in their name. Their words corrode and weaken the heart, their threats loosen the fasteners and break the seals. They are the anti-gears that turn counter to nameless will, servants of the pandemaic untruth whose nature is void. Of the Dryad only the great prince of order knew his nature, and he went mad in the knowing." The Daedra fear wisdom and order, you see, and thus do they fear the clockwork god above all others, where others see dark crowns numbered 10 and 6. Okay, I think we got through reading a lot. Some of it was pretty interesting and at the end of the video.
Secrecy is everything. Yet we must leave something behind in the event that we fail.
Even if we succeed, the need to act again may arise some long tomorrow from now.
Robert Moore will not allow that to happen. But I agree. We should leave instructions here for those who come after.
That book? It is the very one those 3 ancient priests were handling in the memory. Examine it, Proxy.
At Mephalah's sacred command, I now record my final testament. The Lady of Whispers calls upon me to surrender myself in her service. Gladly I make a gift of my life to the Dark Queen I have served all my days. I am not alone in my sacrifice. With me go the priests of Azura and Bethia, likewise chosen as intermediaries of living vessels for the princes they serve. Together we must travel to the Shrine of Inevitable Secrets. A gate to Hermaeus Mora's realm awaits us there. Willingly we are to yield up our mortal bodies to our princes so that they may enter into Apocrypha and take secret counsel against the Prince of Paths. This testament I leave behind in the event of our sacrifice fails or is forgotten. There is no place in Nirn the Prince of Paths does not bestride, no choice she cannot undo. Only in the secret heart of Apocrypha can our princes come together to devise her downfall. Attend, you who read these words. Should we fail, this is the path you must take.
Those devout priests offered themselves so their princes could meet in secret. We must find the gate they used. It could be the access to Apocrypha Torvasad is seeking.
What about the relics? How do they fit in?
Torvasad said the relics would help him find Athelia. He must believe they will lead him to a gate to Apocrypha or the final glyphic in the mythos. We need to find the gate first, but I have no idea where the Shrine of Inevitable Secrets lies.
If it's a shrine to Hermaeus Mora, can't he just tell us where it is?
The course of fate is never that simple. Many futures branch from each choice we make. If we know too much, we risk altering our choices and changing the outcome. Therefore, Mora tells us only what he must. As fate's chosen, you will lead the way.
And how do you suggest I do that exactly?
We are in a monastery dedicated to ancient knowledge. There must be a book or scholar here that can point the way. Abbot Andor said our coming was foretold. Perhaps the one we are meant to learn this secret from will know you as well.
Around.
Well met, Sarah. We receive so few visitors here at Holomeon.
Hey, just getting right to the point. No social pleasantries. Do you know where the Shrine of Inevitable Secrets is located?
I have never heard of such a shrine, but the name sounds like the sort of sobriquet favored by Hermaeus Mora. Perhaps Neas is familiar with it. He has a special interest in lore pertaining to the Prince of Secrets.
Okay, thanks. No, my character didn't say it. Have a great day.
You must be the guest Abbot Andor told us to expect. If there is anything you need, you simply have to ask.
Hey, I'm looking for the Shrine of Inevitable Secrets.
You're a few centuries too late for that, my friend. There was once a great shrine by that name near Sadrith Morum, but it was destroyed long ago. Dragged beneath the sea by an army of Dreg.
Nothing left of the shrine?
Not a trace. Some legends say Hermaeus Mora angered Molag Bal and Vivek by spying on their secret liaison. As punishment, Mora's shrine was removed from this land, and no more were permitted to be built.
That sounds more like myth and history.
Well, I doubt it's a literal account of events, but the end is the same. The Shrine of Inevitable Secrets is gone, and those who worship Hermaeus Mora must do so in private. But perhaps someone else here knows a different version of the story.
Alright, goodbye. I liked his voice. Nice and gravelly. Hello.
Curious. I sense a powerful arcane aura surrounding you. You carry something rarely seen on this mortal plane. It reeks of the black arts of oblivion. Wondrous. May I see it?
Very well. This is the Echoner.
Fascinating. A relic crafted by the Golden Eye himself. Few mortals have ever laid eyes on such a thing. I can see you have been chosen by Hermaeus Mora for something special. A rare honor indeed.
You worship Hermaeus Mora?
Worship implies the subject of one's devotion desires adulation. Hermaeus Mora is beyond such vanities. I give him my respect, not my prayers. If one wishes to uncover the secrets of the plains, it is merely prudent.
Hey, do you know where I can find the Shrine of Inevitable Secrets?
Ah, the fabled shrine of Nabia. Some say the disaster occurred after the birth of the tribunal, but I think it happened in the Merethic era. If it still stands, it would be along the shore to the north. Perhaps your relic can help you locate it.
Okay, goodbye.
I overheard your conversation, Proxy. Nabia is just to the north of here. Gidane and I will meet you there.
Okey-dokey. Where are we going? Sure. We're gonna sneak to the back of this place if we can, because it looks like there might be a chest there. Or not. Oh, I guess I do want to kill it, because there is a chest there.
Libations are on you next time. Ha! We can use this.
Oh, didn't even see it there.
Ugh, dirt fungus.
You must really hate this place, because it is all fungus, sir. Oh, I don't know why I made you jump.
Hostilities ended. Now, to relax.
For like 2 seconds, sir. There's always something that wants to kill us. Okay, apparently I'm very jumpy today because that moving startled me too.
Just in time. Use the Echamir and see if some lingering memory can lead us to the shrine.
The living gods, no other religion in all of Nirn can claim what the Dark Elves know is absolute truth. Their gods rule over them and walk among them, as real and as present as any other resident of Morrowind. From their seat of power in Morhone's tribunal temple, the living gods of the tribunal guard and counsel the people. When necessary, they punish sin and error, but they also share their bounty with the greatest and least among us, each according to their needs. But who are the living gods? They are powerful dark elves who achieve divine status through superhuman discipline and virtue, and supernatural wisdom and insight. As the three god kings of Morrowind, they form the divine leadership of the Dunmer nation. The three, Lord, Mother, and Wizard, are described below. Vivek, the warrior, poet, god, and master of Morrowind, is perhaps the most popular of the three. He also tends to be the most public, and the people love him. His visage appears both beautiful and bloody at the same time. He has made violence into an art form. Vivek, the warrior poet, has darker aspects associated with primitive, ruthless impulses such as lust and murder. Almalexi, also known as Mother Morrowind, is the patron of healers and teachers. She is the healing mother, the source of compassion and sympathy, the protector of the poor and the weak. She embodies the best of the Dunmeri culture and purpose. She exemplifies mercy, and her wisdom guides the Dark Elves in their daily affairs. Thothosil, god of world mechanism, is the least known and most hidden of the tribunal gods. Sometimes referred to as the Mystery of Morrowind, he is the magus and a patron of the artificers, artifacts, and wizards. Artificers and wizards? Perhaps the mightiest wizard in the land, and certainly the wisest. He is considered to be the light of knowledge and inspiration behind craft and sorcery. Together, the living gods are the pillars of the tribunal temple. They represent the power and discipline of the Dunmeri people and rule with a combination of compassion and strict adherence to law and protocol.
Prince of Gods caused the sea to swallow this ancient city. Hermora's temple now lies beneath the waves.
And that is where we must go. Methala, Lady of Whispers, take this mortal shell.
I am ready.
Boethia, I call upon you. Dark warrior, let me bear you to the conclave of princes.
Allow their princes to possess them and wade it into the water. Ha! I know where to find the shrine. Obviously, Anudnabia's lost shrine sunk into the sea ages ago. A fitting end for a place dedicated to the master of the tides of fate. But that will make it difficult to reach.
How can we get to the shrunken shrine?
A submerged shrine calls for a powerful spell. I shall weave an arcane shield that will allow us to breathe and walk upon the seafloor. Once those ancient priests were possessed, they must have done the same. Enter the sea when you are ready.
Looks like fun.
This is incredible. Look at us, strolling along the seabed like it was a street in Necrom.
Stay alert and move straight ahead, both of you. And watch out for any large predatory sea life.
Tremble, ye O dwellers of by the sea, from the sea shall come your doom. Gravelo, ye worshippers of secrets, you shall know the hour of your doom. Blind yourselves, ye who see what is hidden, you have looked upon what must not be seen. Weep, O who follow the Prince of Fate, your cries will not save you from the wrath of his foes. Repent, O he who gather in Anubia, cast your lot into the sea and perhaps survive. If you're talking over there, I am not hearing you because I was too busy reading that. Hey, did you guys know you sunk through the floor? Probably fine, right? You alright, my dude?
Island? Where are we? And who are those warriors?
A demiplane, not an island. We are no longer unknown. Torvasad must be near. I doubt the recollection reached this place without his help.
Laramil is exhausted. Go on, find Torvasad. We'll catch up.
forgot about the horrible noise that thing makes.
That's done. What's next?
I see our buddy up front. Up here.
Boethiah's blade led me to this portal. The path to the mythos. Apocrypha's heart. Only those bearing the essence of Azura, Boethiah or Mephala, can access this portal. The gate recognizes Boethiah's blade. Now I can return to the mythos and find my prince at last.
A permanent portal to the mythos. I did not know such a thing existed.
Chosen of fate, hold. We must speak.
The one who knows is here. Speak with him, Proxy.
Tovazar proves surprisingly resourceful. I created this gate to admit none but the mortal vessels of my allies to Apocrypha. Yet the relic of Boethia he carries deceived my defenses. Ah, clever ploy.
Where did he go?
Tovazar has breached the mythos, the heart of my realm. Twice before he found his way to a glyphic, holding part of the secret he seeks. Only one part remains sealed. You must stop him from reaching the glyphic of shattered reflections.
Now the gate is closed and we don't have any but Boethia, Azura, Mephala relics.
I created this gate, and I command it still. Behold, this portal is opened and will take you where Torvasad has gone. What happens next is in your hands. I dare not interfere with fate more than I have.
What do you mean you dare not interfere?
You are the chosen of fate. This task is appointed to you. Not by me, but by the demands of causality and consequence. If I try to stop Torvasad, I will fail. You, however, always have a chance. That is the nature of mortals. Now, go.
Okay. We're heading out, sir.
The mythos of Apocrypha. Heart of Hermaeus Mora's domain.
I remember
Torvasad is somewhere ahead of us. Restore your strength.
Not stepping off of that one.
Feel the current of fate flow through. Let's face renewal protects us both.
Your companions really like to repeat themselves, don't they?
Perhaps a tactical approach.
Let's Lore's amulet to restore your strength.
Prince Athelia's scion requires Clan Shardboard's power.
The current of fate shall revitalize.
Hostilities ended. Now, to relax.
Let's face renewal vigor.
Tentacles. I'm glad that's done.
Get closer to me, friend. Let the safe restore your strength.
Sure where we're supposed to go.
Feel the current of fate flow through.
faith, restore your strength.
I'm going in the right direction. Do I want to go that way? Yeah, I do. Alright.
Protect us both. Your strength.
Gratifying resolution.
Make Morris minions suffer!
Laramil's amulet can protect us both.
Like a hound on a scent, we're on the move. History is our prey.
Shardman? Who in oblivion are they?
I do not recognize these Dremora. Perhaps Torvasard is not the only one beginning to remember the Forgotten Prince.
Your strength.
Get closer to me, friend.
Torvasard is worthy of our confidence.
Stand close and let me shield you.
Laramil's amulet can protect us both.
Let faith renew your vigor.
Get closer to me, friend.
Let faith renew your vigor.
Stand close and let me shield you.
Oh, goodness.
He found the last glyphic.
The last glyphic and the final secret. I must know what happened to Prince Ethelia.
Defeated Prince Ethelia. Now we must all forget our victory.
Forget? Why should I forget how I took this mortal shell and tracked Ethelia with my skein?
Azura and I did our part with these vessels of flesh. And the lamp, and the polisher.
Listen, my fellow princes. The Lord of Fate is right. Imprison Ethelia in your mythos, Mora. Then erase all memory of her existence.
Imprisoned by cowards. Abandoned by betrayers. But I remember. And I know how to free my friends. Away, alone for millennia. I will free my prince and restore her glory.
Oreo.
Sought to open the prison.
Oblivion and none for ages. Tormented by a question I could not even frame. This is my answer! I did not forget my friends! I do not understand. Where is Prince Ethelia? If she escaped, why did she not contact me? You! Is this some new trick of the Lord of Fate?
I'm as surprised as you are, Torvastar.
No. This is no trick. Do you see? Prince Ethelia has escaped. She freed herself from this prison, or was freed by some hand other than mine. Perhaps the simple act of remembering restored her power, dissolved her bonds. I do not know.
If she escaped, where would she have gone?
Prince Ethelia is the mistress of the untraveled road. She could be anywhere. Perhaps she will be drawn to places or things she knew before her craven foes locked her away. Yes, that must be right. And I know what I must do. Farewell, mortal.
Hey, where are you going?
I still have a task to do. I need to find my prince, help her, restore her to the power that is hers by right. And there are other scions out there. I remember them too now. Mortal, fate's chosen. I expect our paths will cross again.
Torvasard, wait.
A fate forged the moment Torvasard opened the first glyphic and began to remember. Return to the Mythos Vault, mortal. We must speak.
Hello, sir.
I am called the Master of the Tides of Fate. I perceive everything that may come to pass, yet I cannot select the outcomes I prefer. Choice and chance determine which possibility actually occurs. Such as this one. Ethelia is free.
You said that if Torvasard succeeded, reality would end. Were you wrong?
I did not lie, chosen of fate, nor was I mistaken. I told you what you needed to know to avert catastrophe, and catastrophe has been averted. For now, the outcome I foresaw will still come to pass. It is only a matter of time.
How did they escape?
This spire was never Ethelia's prison. Being forgotten was. The moment Torvasard finally remembered his prince, its power to hold Ethelia began to wane. Now, new paths form before us. Some lead to survival, others destruction.
What can we do to avoid destruction?
A question we all must ponder. Ethelia and her Ilkar, unseen. I cannot perceive their actions, nor can I share what I surmise, lest I unduly affect the course of events. Take counsel with Laramil the Wise, and wait for a new path to open.
Fine, I'll talk to Laramel the Wise. Why do I phrase it that way? We like Laramel.
Prince Ethelia has escaped her prison, yet reality persists. And Torvasard understood events no better than we do. As I have seen time and time again, the machinations of Oblivion are far beyond mortal comprehension.
Hermaeus Mora told me to seek your counsel.
So I heard. And he did not send us to pursue Torvasard. It appears that the next step we take must be our choice. We should return to Nirn, regroup, and follow the advice of the one who knows. Wait for a path to open before us.
Isn't Ethelia the Prince of Paths?
That fact has not escaped me, Proxy. Torvasard spoke of restoring his lost realm. Miramor, he called it. And he thought that Ethelia would return to places that were familiar to her. Let us return to Grotwood and confer with your friend Baragon.
All right, let's return. Bye-bye. All right, in the next roughly 20-some minutes, I will be reading all the books that we found in the library that were kind of worth reading. So if you want to stick around, stick around. If not, I will see you on the next episode. And thank you so much for keeping me company. I greatly appreciate it. What have I done? It was but a simple experiment, a transmutation of features, a brand new fauna to bring to Varvendel. What did I create? Or perhaps the first time in my career I wish I'd failed. What sort of Telvanni mage am I to say such a thing? I made the immediate decision to destroy my creation. Yes, it was not inherently evil or dangerous, or any of the traits normally associated with regrettable experiments, but it haunted me with its unnatural form. Its protruding head and its fusion of scales and fur, I knew I had to destroy it. My deep sense of curiosity was my downfall. My mind was made up to undo what I had done. But I was too vain to let my experiment be destroyed before setting up at least the most basic of tests. I was in the middle of one when my darling little girl burst into my office with her daily demand for sweets. How this creature entrapped my daughter I will never know, but she was immediately besotted by it. She took that vile thing in her arms and began to coo. Its revolting tongue stretched from its snout and rubbed against her arm, and rather than cry out in horror, she simply laughed and said, "Oh, Father, what a cute little beastie. Whatever is it called? I had no choice but to think of a name. She demanded it as a pet, and I cannot say no to those sweet crimson eyes. But I refused to agree to her newest request, a family for the horrid thing. One of these creatures living within the world is horrible enough, but at least I did not create an immortal. Master Scalytail's death will be the end of his species, mark my words. Never will I allow my beloved Varvendel to be overrun by creatures so revoltingly cute. Okay, War of the First Council by Agrippa Fundulus. This account by the imperial scholar Agrippa is based on various imperial and Dunmar resources and written for Western readers. The War of the First Council was a first-era religious conflict between the secular Dunmar houses Dwemer and Dagoth and the orthodox Dunmar houses Indoril, Redrin, Drez, Alu, and Telvanni. The First Council was the first pan-Dunmar governing body, which collapsed over disputes about sorceries and enchantments practiced by the Dunmar and declared profane by the other houses. The secular houses, less numerous, but political and magically more advanced and aided by Nord and Orc clans drawn by the promise of land and beauty, initially campaigned with great success in the north of Morrowind, and occupied much of the land now comprising the Redrin, Varvenfell, and Telvanni districts. The Orthodox houses, widely dispersed and poorly organized, suffered defeat after defeat until Nirvar was made general of all house troops and levies. It's really boring. Of course, a library is going to have tons of books to read. What else would it have? A field guide to Spriggans. We come to consideration of the Spriggan, the elusive feminine nature spirit of the deep woods. Of course, we all know the name from the taunting children's joke that goes, "Guess what? What? Sprigganbite!" But beyond this juvenile jest, what can scholarship tell us about these half-flora, half-faunal creatures? Unfortunately, though I have consulted all the standard sources, the academics of Tamriel have little to say about the Spriggans, whys, and wherefores. From both legend and from authenticated stories of personal encounters, we know that Spriggans are somehow mystically tied to certain corpses or thickets, verdant groves which they fiercely defend against trespassers. Spriggan sap is said to be venomous, and they are known to be able to magically heal themselves when wounded, making them dangerous opponents. In addition, Spriggans have some sort of innate connection to the animals and plants that inhabit their sacred groves, and there are many verified accounts of animals fighting at their sides against intruders. These allies include not just animals that are naturally aggressive, such as bears or swarms of hornets, but even usually timid creatures like deer and elk. Whether these animal allies defend Spriggans out of love or friendship, or whether they are magically summoned by an innate spell ability on the part of the Spriggan, is an open question, and a matter of some debate among those who study mystozoology. There is no doubt, however, that Spriggans are creatures of magical nature, and it is clearly evidenced by the powerful qualities of the so-called taproots that are harvested from their bodies when slain. These taproots are prized by alchemists for their undeniable arcane properties, which enable the concoction of complex potions from powerful reagents that are otherwise immiscible. As to their origin, that is a mystery that so far none have solved. We find accounts of Spriggan groves dating all the way back to the beginning of the First Era, as well as mention of tree daughters in the ancient myths of Yuff and the Erd Bones. Their common name seems to derive from sprig, the Nedic term for a fresh green twig or offshoot, but beyond that, everything about their origins is obscure. From a purely physical standpoint, Spriggans certainly come in several forms, with reports of a variety of barks and foliage. This may represent different strains or subspecies, or it may simply be a reflection of the Spriggan's mystical connection with its local flora. Spriggans seem to resemble the plants of the groves wherein they live, even reflecting the seasonal nature of those who reside in the deciduous forests of northern Tamriel. In the opinion of the scholar, the so-called spring, summer, autumn, and winter Spriggans are all the same creatures, merely undergoing seasonal metamorphosis. Some have gone so far as to assert that the Spriggans have a hierarchy, with lesser members of the species owing allegiance to the greater, who are sometimes termed Spriggan Matron, or even Spriggan Earth Mother. Here is where we must draw the line between scholarship and storytelling. Though a Spriggan's form outwardly resembles that of a human female, there is no evidence whatsoever that they engage in intelligent behavior or that they can organize into hierarchy groups. The creatures of the natural world, even those that are quasi-magical, behave entirely according to instinct, and to endow them with human emotion or thought is a mere sentimentalism. If you are partial to that sort of fanciful twaddle, I refer you to the works of Lady Cinnabar of Tanith, who produces it in the great reams. The insult. The lure of Kamanatog. You probably heard of Kamanatog. It's the name whispered in dark alleys as blood pools on the cobblestones, the signature of a ransom note left on the neighbor's bed. A shadow, a curse, a boil upon the arse of our society, and though I'm not proud to admit it, it's a part of my past. Now, I'm not writing this for those of you already on the right side of law. I'm writing this for the ones who have already ventured off that moral path. Those that walk the thin line between right and wrong. The ones with the empty bellies and the emptier coffers, who might see the Kamanatog as a viable option. To you, I say, well, keep reading. Sure, Kamanatog has stability. A steady stream of income is a hard thing to turn down, and they've got structure to boot. They'll lure you in with the possibility of glory and of command, of rising through the ranks. And sure, they do as far from legal. But if you're already leaning in that direction, wouldn't you rather be in good company? It wouldn't take much sweet talking before I signed right up, and at first life was good, extorting the rich flat heads who had lorded above me all my life. My pleasure. A few robberies, a few break-ins, nothing I wasn't used to. And sure, we talked big about driving away the Outlanders, of taking Varvenfell back for the Dark Elves. But I'll be honest, nothing made me question what I was doing. Nothing, that is, until some Argonian seamstress got a little uppity. Oh, it was the talk of town. Some scaled noir had the gall to start up her own shop, and be successful with it to boot. She was taking away good business from Dark Elves, that's what she was doing. Taking away gold from her mothers and her sisters. So we did what Kamanatog does best. We made her pay. The kidnapping was easy. Yeah, her shop was doing well, but she was still an Argonian. I don't think I saw a single guard as we slipped into her house. Not in that part of town. We tied her up and gagged her before she had a chance to cry for help, laughing like it was some big joke. Young hotheads who had too much to drink. I thought they were just going to scare her, set her straight, make her realize that she couldn't think herself better. But I started to sober up when the beatings began. First, a slap to her face, but that quickly turned to punches and kicks. They joked about how she could take it, how Argonian skin was so thick no one would even see the bruises. I can still hear her muffled cries along with their laughter. I just watched as the beatings became more intense. As blood started dribbling from her gagged mouth, I wasn't a stranger to violence, or truly opposed to it given my line of work. There was something about tying up this old Argonian and beating her bloody, kicking her as she fell to the floor. My throat grew tight as I watched, motionless. No one seemed to notice my lack of enthusiasm, so enraptured by the righteous justice they gladly doled out. Someone pulled out a dagger and made the casual remarks. You know, it's pretty hard to sew without fingers. And suddenly, I was wide awake. I wish I could tell you that I stopped them, said something clever, did something brave, but the truth is, I walked out. I left that room, that town, that life. Not with my head held high, but broken, defeated, thinking of that poor Argonian's eyes, filled with terror. So different from my own, yet so alike. I don't know if they went through with it, if there's a fingerless beggar somewhere who sees my face in her nightmares. I don't think I'll ever try to find out. So next time you think of Kamanatog, of the glamour and of the gold, you think of how easy it is for your crooked morals to slip away entirely. How big talk and some drink can lead you down a darker path than you ever realized you were capable of. How easy it is to say nothing, and how much easier it is to join along. Got dark. Dark elves, dark hearts. Orcs catch it in the tuss, no question. Doesn't matter where I go, I could be hauling rope and way rust, or laying bricks and bargama. Wherever I travel, I hear it. Savage, brute, beast. It used to really tear me up. I look at my reflection in a bowl of water or a shop window and think, you know, maybe they're right, but not anymore. Not since I moved to Varvenfell. You want to get a good look at what savage really means? Come spend some time with the Dark Elves. Sure, they clean up well. Everything here is clean and polished and pressed. But if you pull back the curtain even a little, you'll see the evil. I don't mean a clumsy, childish evil. I'm talking about real evil. Lusty, red-eyed, and smiling like a Daedra. Enslavement, murder, deception, cruelty. Name a sin and you'll find it venerated. Name a Daedra and you'll find it worshipped. This island is corrupt, straight down to the moral. Don't believe me? Alright, let's talk about bugs. Barvenfall is crawling with insects, some as small as a babe's toenail, and some as big as mammoths. That alone wouldn't be cause for concern. I mean, the Ektir back home gave some folks the creeps. Most of these critters are hard to look at, but the real horror doesn't come from the bugs themselves. It comes from what the Dark Elves do to them. Take the Nixox. Never seen one? Picture a flea the size of a horse, propped up on 6 hairy stilts. Got it? That's a Nixox. As far as I can tell, they're gentle creatures. They don't bleat or grunt like other pack animals. They just wander about, grazing on hardened mushrooms, cracking them open with their great big mandibles, and lapping up the fungus inside the husk. Gentle giants they are. Too gentle, I think. Early in the morning, while the beasts are still dozing, 6 or 7 dark elves will descend upon a herd like a pack of greedy well-was. It doesn't take long for them to go to dozen or so nixes into willed ox pens. The leader of the crew will take a quick survey of the catch and mark their chitin with black chalk. Prices, you see, of course. Some don't get marked, some are too frail or too small to be of use. Rather than letting the creatures go, one of the wranglers will jab them with a spear, right beneath the chin, see? Then they kick them out of the pens and leave them to rot. The sad thing is that these are the lucky ones. Nix oxens that they make to the market are divided into 2 groups, Nix Tovo and Nix Rima. Tovo oxen tend to be older and larger. You can snatch up 2 or 3 for the price of a single Rima. For the longest time, I couldn't figure out why. I finally asked one of the wranglers to explain why larger, stronger Nix ox are so much cheaper. Hide's too thick, he said. Can't pry it. You see, the older Nix chitin is thick as oak bark. It cracks under pressure. Younger Nix's hides, however, are more pliable. With a bit of pressure, you can separate the plates to see the organs underneath. This access is what makes Rima oxen so valuable. Well, the farmers hire specialists called drenlins to train their Nix oxen. The softer way of saying break. The drenlin bores into the poor beast's back with the obsidian drill and pries open the flesh to expose a bundle of nerves resting in the cavity they call the drive chamber. They set a few hook-like prods into the viscera, then reset the plates. It takes the better part of an hour, but by the end, the ox is docile as a lamb. It just stands there, no restless pacing, no nervous twitching of the mandibles, not alive, not dead, just a husk. I won't lie, it's hard to watch, but you know what the scariest part is? The scariest part is how bored everyone looks. I looked into one of those Drenlin eyes as he pried a Nix ox back apart, and you know what I saw? The same face my daughter makes when she milks. A wary, disinterested, nothing face, totally oblivious, immune to shame. I'll admit I'm no green child. I'll polish off a rack of spare ribs and wash it down with a pig gin without batting an eye. But digging around inside a beast's brain, turning it into a zombie? It takes a black heart to do something like that. And you know what? Dark elves do it all the time. Mean old Torchbug lived near the Kwama mine. He loved to taunt and tease the Kwama workers, but especially enjoyed getting brave little Scrib into trouble. Oh, he was never obvious about his troublemaking, and for the most part, the brave little Scrib considered the tiny Torchbug to be her friend. If brave little Scrib took a moment to consider all the time she wound up punished because she listened to Torchbug, she might have felt differently about the mean little creature. But the brave little Scrib never thought much about such things. It wasn't in her nature. One day, after she grew bored watching the Kwama workers busily move the Kwama eggs from one section of the hatchery to another, brave little Scrib ventured out of the mine. It was a beautiful day, sunny and warm, with a gentle breeze blowing through the mushroom forest. Kwama warrior stood guard at the entrance and asked her where she was going. "I'm going out to play," she answered, which she thought was totally obvious to anyone other than the serious warrior. As brave little Scrib entered the mushroom forest, she saw the glowing light hovering above the trail ahead. It was her friend, mean old Torchbug, though she never called the tiny insect such a horrible name. "Hello, tiny Torchbug," Scrib called out. "And greetings to you, little Scrib," Torchbug said, his voice like a crackling fire. "What brings you out to the mine on this beautiful day?" "I've come to play," brave little Scrib said cheerfully. "The mine is dreadfully dull, as the workers are constantly busy and all the warriors want to do is fight and fight and fight. I'm looking for an adventure." "An adventure?" Torchbug asked gleefully. "I know just the thing to fill your day with excitement and provide me with an amusement to brighten up my afternoon." Remembering the other suggestions Torchbug shared with her during the time they've known each other, Scrib asked suspiciously, "What do you have in mind?" There's a mage tower nearby, in one of the tall mushrooms. The mage that lives there is always looking for a brave little Scrib to play games with. She knows the most interesting games. "What kind of games?" Scrib asked, suddenly excited despite her suspicions. "Oh, the best kinds, I assure you." "Then lead the way, tiny Torchbug," Scrib said, and she followed the glowing insects deeper into the shadows cast by the looming mushroom spires. As brave little Scrib followed Torchbug toward the mushroom tower, she noticed a pile of empty jars heaped haphazardly near the tower's base. She stopped to inspect the jars, sniffing at the sticky sweet residue that clung to the discarded vessels. "Is something wrong, little Scrib?" Torchbug asked, flitting back to hover above the piled jars. "There's something familiar about this smell," brave little Scrib said, "but I can't quite place it." "That's just the remains of the jelly the mage likes to spread on toasted bread. In fact, that's one of the games she loves to play when brave little Scribs come to call." Now, brave little Scrib wasn't the most clever Quama in the mine, but she has her moments. This was one of them. "You want to watch the mage turn me into Scrib jelly, don't you, you old mean Torchbug?" "Of course," Torchbug sang. "I so want to see how the jelly gets made." "I think we'll save that for another day, Torchbug," brave little Scrib said. "If you insist, little Scrib. Have a good day." And brave little Scrib raced back to the Quama mine, leaving Torchbug in the shadows with the empty jars. That was one adventure she was glad she missed. Xarces and Ogma? "I am to be married," she said aloud. "Xarces, is this what I want, or just what I must do?" He rose from her book in silence, measuring her worth. "Marriage joins two as one," he said. He wrote in the dirt with the dark oak staff, creating a river. "This is one." He wrote again, and the terrain changed, splitting the river in two as it flowed over a newly formed cliff. He stepped to its edge and beckoned to her. "Two become one," he said softly in her ear, pointing over the edge of the twin falls, joining together in a pool below. "Should I marry then?" "One can travel quite far alone or together. Which do you prefer?" That was a non-answer. Sacred Witness Part 2. I did not come here to hire the Brotherhood, I said respectfully. Then why are you here? The Night Mother asked, her eyes never leaving mine. I told her I wanted to know about her. I did not expect an answer to that, but she told me. I do not mind the stories you writers dream up about me, she chuckles. Some of them are very amusing, and some of them are good for business. I like the sexy dark woman lounging on the divan. I like the sexy dark woman lounging in Karlavac's Townways fiction particularly. The truth is that my history would not make a very dramatic tale. I was a thief long, long ago, back when the Thieves Guild was only beginning. It's such a bother to sneak around a house when performing a burglary, and many of us found it most efficient to strangle the occupant of the house, just for convenience. I suggested to the guild that a segment of our order be dedicated to the arts of science, of murder. It did not seem like such a controversial idea to me, the Night Mother shrugged. We had specialists in cat burglary, pickpocketing, lock-picking, fencing, and all the other essential parts of the job. But the guild thought that encouraging murder would be bad for business. Too much, they argued. They might have been right, the old woman continued, but I discovered there's a profit to be made just the same from sudden death. Not only can one rob the deceased, but if your victim has enemies, which rich people often do, you can be paid for it even more. I began to murder people differently when I discovered that. After I strangled them, I would put 2 stones on their eyes, one black and one white. Why? It was a sort of a calling of mine. You're a writer. Don't you want your name on your books? I couldn't use my name, but I wanted potential clients to know me and my work. I don't do it anymore. No need to. But at the time, it was my signature. Word spread, and I soon had quite a successful business. And that became the Morag tongue? I asked. Oh, dear, no. The Night Mother smiled. The Morag tongue was around long before my time. I know I'm old, but I'm not that old. I merely hired on some of their assassins when they began to fall apart after the murder of the last potentate? They did not want to be members of the Tong anymore, and since I was the only other murder syndicate of any note, they just joined in. I phrased my next question carefully. Will you kill me now that you've told me all this? She nodded, sadly, letting a little grandmotherly sigh. You were such a nice, polite young man. I hate to end our acquaintanceship. I don't suppose you would agree to a concession or two in exchange for your life, would you? To my everlasting shame, I did agree. I said I would say nothing about our meeting, which, as the reader can see, was a promise I eventually, years later, chose not to keep. Why have I endangered my life thus? Because the promises I did keep. I helped the Night Mother and the Dark Brotherhood in acts too despicable, too bloody for me to set to paper. My hand quivers as I think about the people I betrayed, beginning with that night. I tried to write my poetry, but ink seemed to turn to blood. Finally, I fled, changing my name, going to a land where no one would know me. And I wrote this, the true history of the Night Mother, from the interview she gave me on the night we met. It'll be the last thing I ever write, this I know, and every word is true. Pray for me. Editor's note, though originally published anonymously, the identity of the author has never been in serious doubt. Any layman familiar with the work of the poet Enric Milrus will recognize Sacred Witness' familiar cadence and style of such books of his as the Liquor. Shortly after publications, Milrus was murdered, and his killer was never found. He had been strangled, and 2 stones, a black one and a white one, crushed into his eye sockets, very brutally. The Wandering Spirits. I'm only going to read one part. Boethra, the warrior of the east and west, she is the maid of Mafala, who did not forget her love for Boethra after Honor sent her into her exile for her rebellious nature. Boethra walked the many paths in exile, and she returned. It was she who pried the eye from Magris, and this is why Kahit value swords as well as claws. There is no need for a true crat to pray for Boethra, as you honor the spirit merely by walking the path, and only hiding in order to pounce. It is forbidden to say her name on nights of the ghost moon, and during these phases Boethra dons the death shroud. of Lorha and wages war beyond the lattice. Mafala, the teaching mother, elder spirit, and the keeper of the ancient secrets of Bodwama? Bodama, probably. Maybe. These were the secrets her children only needed in the beginning, and it was Mafala that carried them down. She watches over 8 of the many paths, each of which a Kahit must walk in time. Mafala aids the clan mothers in guiding the Kahit people along the path, protecting her secrets from others. She is an ally of Azura, Bohithra, and Lorha. Her numbers are 8 and 16, and those are 2 of her keys. Whew. Again, who knew that a library was going to have so much reading?